This meeting is being recorded.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्वन्धकारोपैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यः प्रज्ञानां शुभप्रदानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पुनरपि दिशनोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया संख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। यो विश्वात्मा विविधविषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमिति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ नस्तुरीयः। यो विश्वात्मा तुरीयः नः पातु। Turiya is a word standing for Chaturiyah, the fourth part. The count of 4 includes waken, dream, deep sleep, and the Turiya Avastha. Naturally, the fourth one is actually not an Avastha, because you will ask the question, I experience a waken. I do experience dream. And I experience deep sleep as well. What is this Turiya? I don't really experience anything called Turiya. So it is not an Avastha. That is why Bhashyakara also used Maya Sankhya Turiyam. In the previous verse, he used Maya Sankhya Turiyam. The count which is a figurative count. In fact, there is only one that can be counted, which is Turiya. Everything else don't count because they are Avastu. They are not Vastu. They don't exist. This Turiyaha, which is the Vishwatma as well, Vaishwanaraha. There is always Vyashti and Samashti. In the previous first verse, Shloka, Bhashyakara had used both Samashti and Vyashti. This Vishwatma, I as a Jiva, as a Vishwa, is experiencing a vacant state. When I am woken up, I am a vacant person. I am a Vishwa. And I am experiencing the physical universe. I have Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira. The physical body, which has touch, smell, taste, hearing, and the Rupa forms. These are the 5 things which are available to me. So I have these senses which can catch these 5 things. Sabda Sparsha, Rupa Rasa Gandha. Sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And for me to experience these 5, they have to be there outside. Then only I can experience. There should be sound for my ears to hear. The birds chirping sound, the human talking sound, the animals roaring sounds, the machines making sound. All sorts of sounds are available in the Virat. There is Adibhautika sounds like thunderbolt. All kinds of sounds are there for me to have experience of. So that is what is called Virat, Samashti, Ishvara in the form of the Niyati is available for you to experience. That is the Virat, Samashti. Just you having ears doesn't complete it. There needs to be sound outside. And both are shown as the same Brahman in the previous verse. Here also, this Vishwatma. So this Vishwa, this Jiva in the Vyashti. Vyashti means individual. Samashti means collective. Vyashti is part of Samashti. Your ears are part of one order called sound and hearing. That is why there is ENT and other fields of study. A human can hear, a bat can hear, a dog can hear. So hearing as a function is there in multiple species and they are interconnected through one system of sound, one continuum of sound. That's why when you talk, the dog is able to hear it and it turns around when you call it. So the sound continuum, and there is a niyati, there is an order. And that order is the one which makes the whole thing function. a hearing related medicine or ear drops is probably tested first in some other animal. If it is very potential risky thing, they will try it on a rat or a bat or something and then come to human. Correct? That means there is a niyati. There is an order. Similarly, eyesight. There is an order. How it works. Smell. There is an order. Wind, how it blows. There is an order. There is a conscious order. It's not inert. It needs to, there should be an intelligence into the whole scheme of things. Otherwise, it can't function that way. The positioning of planets, the way they spin around the, for example, take the Milky Way galaxy, how these planets spin around the sun, they rotate around themselves. And then the satellites like moon, the whole thing is in motion. Moon is rotating, the earth is spinning and rotating. We don't know what if sun and the whole Milky Way is rotating around something. We don't know. We know only so much. But even within that, there is a lot of intelligence and intelligent order. If the earth was somewhat closer to the sun or somewhat away from the sun, could the life form be sustained? Looks unlikely. So there has been an intelligence in positioning it, isn't it? And not only it was done once, in constantly all these are moving and they have to stay in a certain position all the time. Orbit it in almost a fixed path. So there is so much of symbiotic cognitive order, niyati, which is what we call as samashti virat. Virat is from the tangible stula universe. We call it virat. V means shastra. And from the subtle sukshma, just like within your physical body, there is a subtle body like your mind and organs and all that. Prana, indriya. Like that, there is a samashti which is called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the samashti subtle body. And then there is a Karana. Karana Sharira means the causal body, the reason for it. The reason for individual is what? Your avidya or ajnana. That is the reason for your jivatvam. And at samashti level, what is the cause, karana for the whole creation? That is called Maya. So with Maya, the samashti is called Ishvara. And with avidya, the vyashti karana is called the jiva. That in this Upanishad, the names used are Vishwa, Tejasa, and Prajna. Vishwa is equivalent to the Virat. Tejasa, the Sukshma Sharira Abhimani, is called Hiranyagarbha in Samashti. And the Karana Sharira, which is Prajnaha, equivalent, is called Ishvara. So these three constitute the three levels of Vyashti Samashti. So when Vishwa is available, like when you are awakened, then Virat is available for you to consume. And when you are available with only Sukshma Sharira as a Taijasa, then Hiranyagarbha is available to produce that continuum, that niyati for you to dream or for you to do other subtle actions. So in this second shloka, that order is presented, that whole scheme is presented, and is shown that these are non-separate from Turiya, because that Turiya is present in all these three, and its presence lends existence to all these three. But the Turiya is none of these three, and it is away from all these three. Therefore, we saw that the last line is elongated to show that untouched, it supports all this. Shayanaha Jagat Bhivarti. By just its presence, it lends strength to the whole thing. Just lying down, it is letting the whole world function. That is Ananta Shayana. We call it as Anant. Figuratively, it is Ananta Shayana of Mahavishnu is what we show. Yo Vishwatma Vivida Vishayan Prashya. All these varieties of experience, Prashya, Ashanam means to eat. Sthavishtan Prashya. Stula, because it is all stula, it is grass. He uses the word Prashya, eating all this, the Vishwa. Stavishtan. Then Anyan Swamati Vibhavan. Swamati, one's own mind spinning out experiences based on what you have already experienced. In a new permutation and combination, this mind spins up experiences. Sukshman, Svena Jyotisha Sukshman. The Jyotis, the light, that Jyoti, where does this light is what? Consciousness, awareness is the light. Otherwise, that light only lights up your experience. And that Jyotis is not from anything else but one's own. Swarupa only lights it up. Where from is there any other place where you see your consciousness? Not your consciousness. Can you point towards a consciousness as this? You can never. So the only source of consciousness is your Swarupa, and that is the Jyotis. Every experience is lighted by your own Swarupa. Svena Jyotisha, that Jyoti, that light is yours. The light source is you. Swamati Vibhavan, but spun as vritti by your own mind. You see this world of dream. So what you see in Vekan is not Swajyoti Vibhavam. It is Ishvara Srishti. But what you see in dream is spun by your own mind. That's why here he uses Svena Jyotisha Swamati Vibhavan Paschat Chanyan Sukshman Prashya. Here also he uses actually Parashya only. Whereas in the earlier verse he used Pitva Sarvan Viseshan. Like that he used drunk because it is Sukshma. It's okay. Ashanam means to take in. Then sarvanyetan punarapi shanaihi swatmanistapayitva. Shanaihi, in time, again, all these are resolved into oneself. Swatmanistapayitva. Resolving all these experiences into oneself. That is called unmanifest. This unmanifest is in seed form. In Pralaya, we say the whole samashti goes into seed form. See, this is how we understand the Vyashti samashti is very important. Look at it. What is our Srishti and Pralaya? It is like waking and going to sleep. In Vyashti, you wake up and you go to sleep. In Samashti, Srishti is waking up. Pralaya is going to sleep. So it's like Ishvara resolving all the manifest into an unmanifest. That is why Parvati, who is Maya, is said to take a state of Aparna. Generally, she is Pushpita, like Kadamba Vanavasini, in the manifest Jagat. When it is unmanifest, she is Aparna. Ishvara is always Tanu only. Like Chetana Vastu is like just a log of wood with no leaves and nothing. But it is the Shakti which is the Lata. And she is Aparna when it is unmanifest, when it is Pralaya. And when manifest, she is fully Pushpita. Swatmani Stapayitva. Resolving into oneself. Shanaihi, in time. Hitva Sarvan Viseshan. There are no attributes in the time of deep sleep. There is no differentiation. It is one log of darkness. Ghana is what it says. Vigata Guna Ganaha. Devoid of all attributes. But this devoid of all attributes, if you take it in the last line for Turiya. So what is it actually talking about, the third line or fourth line? You have to see this. Hitva Sarvan Viseshan Vigata Gunaganaha. You can also say in deep sleep, there is no Visesha, there is no Guna there. But you still have the ignorance in unmanifest form. So you can't really say it is Vigata Gunaganaha. Therefore, it is more appropriate to understand this. The fourth line is saying, without any guna, without any Visesha, devoid of all that Turiya, which is the one which was Vishwatma in Vekan, which is the one which is the Tejasa in dream, which is the one which is the Prajna in deep sleep. That which is beyond all this is the Turiya, which is devoid of any guna or Visesha. Because by itself, it doesn't have any of these. Those states have an Adhyasika, superimposed attributes. But Swataha, this Turiya doesn't have any of these. Patu Asau. May that protect us. It can protect us Ishvara. It can protect us Brahman by revealing itself. Thereby your fear goes away. Dvaitadhi bhayam bhavati. When the Turiya reveals itself, there is no dual, there is no duality. So the bhaya goes away. The samsara bhaya goes away. So by removing that fear, by revealing itself, may the Turiya protect us. Patu. That was the second shloka. We saw that anyway. Om ityetadaksharamidam sarvam tasyopavyakyanam vedantartha sarasangraha bhutam idam prakarana chatushtayam Om ityetadaksharam ityadi arabhyate. Bhashyakara introduces. Let us see what is that Om ityetadaksharam from Upanishad, and then we can come to Bhashya. This is the Upanishad. Agama Prakarana. Om iti etadaksharam idagum sarvam tasyopavyakyanam bhutam bhavad bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva yaccha anyate trikalatītam tadapi omkara eva. This is the Upanishad Vakya. Om iti etadaksharam idagum sarvam. Sarvam means everything. Idagum sarvam. All that you see here. See means what? See means not only see, hears, touch, taste, experience, whatever. Om iti. Idam sarvam om. All that is there, known, unknown, existing today, going to exist later, earlier it existed. Whatever is known to you, unknown to you, but knowable to you through this cognition is all covered in idam sarvam. That's why the word sarvam. Whatever is omkara only. Tasya upavyakyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva. Whether it was, it is, it will be, all of that is omkara only. Trikalatītam. Yaccha anyat trikalatītam tadapi omkara eva. Whatever else that you are not in a position to even recognize, even those at all three times, is omkara only. Question is so, and just because Upanishad says everything is omkara means I need to take. And why should it be omkara? What is this omkara? Correct? This kind of a statement is there. So it says something, some book will say something. How does it mean? I mean, what does it mean? How does it matter? It's an obvious question. Now for that, we need to first understand why are we studying this Shastra? What is the need to study this? Om may be a name given to everything. Is Om means what? Book is Om, wall is Om, mountain is Om, sun, moon is Om. Is it like that? And even if you name it all as Om, okay, instead of saying all objects, you are giving another word Om. So how does it help? You keep that name, I'm happy with it. You keep whatever name you want. Does it really matter to me? Then people will give all mystic. Om was a sound from which a big bang kind of sound happened. That sound only created. Even if let's say that is true, how does it help me? Instead of big bang, you are saying some Om sound created the world. Okay, fine, I'm good with it. Why should Shastra come and tell this? And what is the need for me to study Shastra? And is it only an information I am gathering? Just like I learned so many things, here I have learned one more thing. There is some Om sound which created the world. Fine. Okay, good. I have learned something. Because I trust this book. I have some trust for Veda. So it says Om created. Okay, fine. Om created. Correct? Whatever mysticism you attribute and say this Omkara created, fine. How does it still help me? So in order for me to understand, I need to understand why Shastra study. This is called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam talks about the link between Shastra study and my aim. Okay. Generally, Anubandha Chatushtaya means 4 things. Prayojana, Vishaya, Sambandha and Adhikari. Prayojana, Vishaya, Sambandha and Adhikari. What is it that I am looking for? What is the purpose? That is Prayojana. Then what is the Vishaya? One second. Okay. The subject matter. And how is it connected to the Prayojana? Sadhana Sadhya Sambandha is what we call. That is Sambandha. And between the Vishaya and Prayojana, what is the Sambandha? And by studying, how do I get that Prayojana? That Sambandha also I need to know. And who is the Adhikari? Can everyone study? And is it Binna Adhikari? So all this needs to come out in order for me to understand why Shastra, what is Shastra, all that. Why should I study? That is the pravritti hetu. What is the motivation? What is the pravritti hetu? That jnanam has to be there first. Then only somebody will, one will at least take it seriously. Otherwise, all this is all jnana marga. I am a bhakti marga person. For me, only some bhajana and going to temple, as though this doesn't include going to temple. Anyway, this is mental laziness. So some people say that we would have heard, right? This is for jnana marga. There is no marga and all, okay? But people think like that. There are many paths. This is bhakti path, then hatha yoga path, this path, that path, all that. Because the hetu is not clear. What is the pravritti hetu? Why should I study Shastra? Now, any study gives knowledge, jnanam. So what is the subject matter to be studied? That is the Vishaya. That needs to be known. Even though day one I won't know the subject fully, but what is it that this is Shastra trying to show? That is the Vishaya. At that level, you should know. That is the Jiveshwara Aikya. Jiveshwara Aikya is the Vishaya for Vedanta. Now, what is the Prayojanam? What is the Prayojanam that we are seeking? Is it Jnanam? Actually, not even Jnanam. We are seeking Moksha as the Phalam. Freedom is what we seek, knowingly or unknowingly. I want to be free of limitation. I want to be free of unhappiness. I want to be free of ignorance. Free from this always becoming, right? Free from becoming. That freedom is what is the search. And that is the prayojanam. Freedom is the phalam. Moksha is the phalam that one is seeking. But Shastra study, Vishaya is Jiveshwara Aikya. And what is the connection between the two? Is there a sadhana sadhya sambandha? The sambandha is jnanam vina moksham na siddhyati. Only the knowledge leads to moksha. There is no other way to gain moksha. Because if you are already a limited person, limited entity, inherently limited, then keeping on adding things is not going to make you free. Your sense of wanting, sense of limitation doesn't go away by adding a few more things. A broomstick doesn't become beautiful by adding a few more jewels on top of it. So the only way moksha is possible is if you are already free and you don't know about it, which is what Shastra says, that you are free, but you take yourself to be something else. Therefore, that ignorance removal is what is needed. And that is the link. Jnanam vina moksham na siddhyati. Therefore, Atma Jnanam is sadhana for moksha, which is the sadhya. Actually, moksha is siddha only, already achieved. But in a sense, it is still sadhya because your ignorance is separating you from that moksha. Therefore, pramana peksha is there for this jnanam. I need a means to know. Whenever I say I know, I have to know, I need a means of knowing. That pramana is the Shastra which talks about Jiveshwara Aikya. Now the question you will ask, why only Shastra? Can't I find out through science, logic, analysis? No. There is Pramanantara Anadigatatvam which is there. No other means can have you gain it because it is about your Swarupa. Since it is about your own Swarupa, you cannot get this knowledge through a search, through this cognition, because the moment you are in pursuit, you are already lost in it, because you will be starting the pursuit, taking yourself to be the pursuer. And here we need an independent means, like a mirror. If you have to see your face, you need a mirror. You can't yourself go and look for you, else only way is there should be an independent pramana which shows you who you are, and that is only Shastra. Therefore, The pramanantara anadhikatattvam is there. Therefore, pravritti hetu, now this is what is called anubandha. Tying it all together. What are you tying? The phala or prayojanam is moksha. That is the end result you want. And there is a sadhana sadhya sambandha between the knowledge and moksha. The Jiveshwara Aikya knowledge is moksha. There is no sadhana sadhya means what? After doing this Jiveshwara Aikya, then I will go and get knowledge. It's not like there is no krama here. It means in the wake of one, the other is there. So when the knowledge happens, moksha has already happened. Okay. So that is the sambandha between knowledge and moksha. Now, what is the sambandha between this study and this knowledge? That sambandha is pratipadaka pratipadya bhava sambandha. So, Shastra Pratipadyam is Jiveshwara Aikyam. Shastra is the Pratipadaka and Jiveshwara Aikya Jnanam is Pratipadyam. And there is a Pramanantara Anadhikatattvam. Other than Shastra, you won't be able to gain this knowledge. Therefore, Ishvara Siddhi and Jiveshwara Aikya Siddhi are both possible only through Shastra. Without Shastra, first of all, Ishvara understanding is not possible. And without Shastra revealing the Swarupa Siddhi, Aikya Siddhi is not possible. Therefore, Pramanantara Anadhika Tattvam is there for this particular knowledge. Shastraika Gamyam. Only through Shastra, Vedanta Shastra, can you gain this knowledge. So that is the connection between Shastra and the Jnanam. We already saw the connection between Jnanam and Moksha. So the Vishaya or subject matter is Jiveshwara Aikya. The Phala or Prayojanam is Moksha. The Pratipadaka Pratipadyatvam is the Sambandha between the two. Okay, so now we have covered three. What three? Prayojana, Vishaya, and Sambandha. Question is the last one, who is the Adhikari? There is an Adhikari Bheda between who pursues this versus who pursues rest of the Veda and the Laukika Vyavahara. Right? This person is a Moksharthi. This person is not interested in other sadhana sadhyas like Swarga or Putra Kameshti or any of those. That is not what he is interested, he or she is interested in. And even the qualification wise, this person is sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha. The person has viveka, vairagya and all that. Already virakta from what the world can give. So there is a bheda in the adhikari. The other person is a bubukshu, bhoktumichu. But this person is a mumukshu, moktumichu. And that mumukshu is the one who is also now a jignasu, because the person now recognizes that jnanam is what can give moksha. Therefore, this is Anubandha Chatushtayam. Why I spoke about it? Because Bhashyakara is going to now introduce that. Now Bhashyam. Om iti etad aksharam. So now the point is the question, why talk about Om and all that? That is what was the question I asked, and then we spoke about Anubandha Chatushtaya. So this whole Shastra study, whether it is Om or this 3 states of experience or whatever, is going to talk about what? The Vishaya, which is Jiveshwara Aikya. Why it needs to talk? It is a way to reveal the Jiveshwara Aikya, because Shastraika Gamyam, this Jnanam, and that Jnanam is what is leading to moksha. That is the Anubandha Chatushtaya. This has to be clearly understood. Why Shastra study? And there is no choice. If you want to get free, the Shastra study is the only way. Moksha, for moksha, only Jnanam is the way. So there is no multiple path. I am a Bhakti Marga person, I am an emotional guy. It's an intellectual laziness. Nothing intellectual, just trying to understand what is what, that's all. See, there is Tarka and other things where it is all jargons and very complicated. Here, Vedanta is not, it's about you, simple. Just the words are new because Sanskritam is there, that's it. But still people have this, difficulty in spending time with the subject matter. That is why they try to find an escape route. I am another upasaka, I am this, that, whatever, say something and then get out of it. Okay. Anyway, so Om ityetadaksharam idam sarvam tasyopavyakyanam is how the Upanishad starts. So Bhashyakara introduces it. Vedantarthasara sangraha bhutam idam prakarana chatushtayam Om ityetadaksharam ityadi arabhyate. Even though the Om ityetadaksharam sarvam is sentence from the Upanishad Vakya, Bhashyakara takes it as part of the Chatushta Prakarana, the 4 Prakaranas which are Karikas. Gaudapadiya Karika, in which the first one is Agama Prakarana, within which Upanishad Vakyas are picked up. And since Bhashyakara is writing Vyakhyana for all the 4 Prakaranas of Gaudapadiya Karika, he says Prakarana Chatushtayam Arabhyate. And what are these about? Vedantartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam. Vedanta, Vedasya Antaha. The ending portion of Veda. Veda talks about many things. Ending portion talks about a different thing. It is a pramana for this mumukshu to recognize what is what, and that is why it is separated, because the moment you say Vedanta, it means the portion which talks about Atmavastu, Brahmavastu. Therefore, it is called Vedanta or Upanishad. So, the Vedanta Arthasara Sangraha Bhutam Samyagraha, the gist, the collection of the Arthasara, Vedanta, whatever it is saying, the essence of it is collected and presented in these 4 chapters of Gaudapadiya Karika. Therefore, he says Vedantartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam. Bhutam means in that form. In the form of Sara Sangraha of Vedantartha, this Prakarana Chatushtayam, these 4 chapters of Mandukya Karika, Arabhyate, they begin. Begin by what? Om ityatadaksharam idam sarvam tasopavyakyanam. By these words, this starts. Ataha eva na prutak sambandha videya prayojana vaktavyani. This is Anubandha Chatushtaya. He says, Prutak sambandha videya prayojanani ataha na vaktavyani. Because this text is only a Vedanta Artha Sara Sangraha. It is only a gist. It is not an independent book. In the sense, it is not, it is independently exploring the same thing. What is told in Vedanta is what this Prakarana Chatushtaya is saying. So Vedanta has already spoken about the Anubandha Chatushtaya. So this book doesn't need to necessarily talk about it. Why is he saying that? Because the Karika is not actually presenting Anubandha Chatushtaya. But Bhashyakara picks it up and says it is not necessary for it to say, but I am going to tell you. That is what he's doing here. Prutak sambandhabideya prayojanani na vaktavyani, because it is Vedantartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam. And he explains it further. Yani eva tu Vedante sambandhabideya prayojanani tani eva iha vaktum arhanti. Whatever in Vedanta, yani eva Vedante, whichever ones are told as sambandhabideya prayojanani, this Anubandha Chatushtaya, whichever has been explained for Vedanta, whatever is relevant for Vedanta, that tani eva, those alone, iha bhavitum arhanti, here also should be applicable. Because this is the same book. So whatever is the, see, when constitution is explained, there are some major, suppose there is a big one law in the constitution law. And then you have some bylaws and substructures under it. Whatever is applicable in the primary law should naturally be inherited unless there is an exception stated, correct? That is how the sub bylaws and subclasses work, function. So, because we are restating what is there in the Upanishad, whatever is applicable should be the same here. Tani eva iha bhavitum arhanti. So you don't have to say explicitly what it is. Just go and look at what Upanishad's Anubandha Chatushtaya is. It should be relevant. Tathapi, even if so, such is the case. Prakarana vyachikya sunak samkshepataha vaktavyani. But by the person who is doing a vyakhyana, in a brief way, at least I have to tell this Anubandha Chatushtaya. Why? Because you may not have studied the original Upanishad. You may just be coming to this Vyakya directly, like we are all doing. Because you can ask this question, no? This is the book we are studying, Mandukya Upanishad Karika. Now you are saying the main Upanishad should have the Anubandha Chatushtaya, but where is it? We haven't studied it. You are just starting this independent text for us. And then you are saying the main Upanishad will have Anubandha Chatushtaya, that itself will be applicable here. Means then you still have to go and pick it up from wherever it is and teach us, no? That's what you will ask. Therefore, same way Bhashyakara also says, as a Vyachikyasu, as a one who is writing a Vyakhyana for this, I have to at least briefly explain you what is the Anubandha Chatushtaya for this book. Even though it's only a reflection. So basically what he's saying, he is justifying why even though Gaudapada hasn't written it, Shankara is going to talk about it. Okay. He feels a need to talk about it. Okay. That is what it is. That is his mind. Okay. We are understanding his mind here, right? Shankara feels that at this point, Anubandha Chatushtaya should be given. Okay. But he is writing a Vyakhyana of Gaudapada Karika. Now, unless Gaudapada has written about it, how can he write himself a Vyakhyana? So ideally, Gaudapada should have put the Anubandha Chatushtaya there so that Shankara can throw more light on it and make us understand better. But Karika is skipping Anubandha Chatushtaya. So Bhashyakara takes effort in explaining that, hey, don't think that Karika hasn't picked it up. It doesn't need to, because whatever Upanishad Anubandha Chatushtaya should be applicable for Karika also. Therefore, Karikakara didn't feel a need to restate it. But because I am doing a commentary, let me fill the gap for you. Okay, that is what is his mind. Therefore, he says, Samkshetrataha Vyachakyasuna Vaktavyani. As a commentator, it is imperative for me to actually pick it up and explain. Saying this, he actually puts it now. Says Tatra Prayojanavat Sadhana Bhivyanjagatvena Abhideya Sambaddham Shastram Paramparyena Visishta Sambandha Abhideya Prayojanavat Bhavati. Prayojanavat Sadhana Abhivyanjagatvena. Prayojanavan, that is Prayojanavat. Okay. Sadhana Abhivyanjagatvena Abhideya Sambaddham Shastram. So, Abhidanam is Shastram. It is the revealing text. Abhideya Vastu is Brahma Vastu. So the Brahman is the one which is being revealed. Or Jiveshwara Aikya that we spoke about. All same. Jiveshwara Aikya means what? Showing that everything is Brahman is Jiveshwara Aikya. Correct? By showing everything is Brahman, Jiveshwara Aikya is achieved. So either we can say Abhideyam is Brahma or Jiveshwara Aikya. It is all same pretty much. And the Shastra ties Abhidanam and Abhideyam. Abhideya Vastu is Brahma, Abhidanam is Shastram, and it is Prayojanavat. Shastra has to be Prayojanavat. Okay, because it is an independent. See, the eyes or nose can pick up things which doesn't have any Prayojana. You can just look at it. I have been watching the wall in front of me. It didn't mean anything so far, right? My mind, it has no use, nor am I processing that information in any necessary way, but it just keeps gathering these inputs as a sensor. So it can be nirartaka because it's not a deliberate pramana, it just exists, so it can collect information. You process some of them, you don't process some of them. But whereas Shastra is a deliberate pramana, unless it has got a fruit, it will not be used. So there is no nirartakatvam cannot be there. If nirartakatvam is there, then Shastra cannot be a pramana. Therefore, there is a prayojanavatvam that is there in Shastra, including these Vakyas, Vedanta Vakyas. Prayojanavat sadhana abhivyanjagatvena abhideya sambaddham Shastram paramparyena visishta sambandha abhideya prayojanavat bhavati. Visishta sambandha also is there. Adhikari Vishesha is there. Sambandha abhideya prayojanam also in a Visishta form is there. Okay, we will see this in the next class. We are coming to that time. So this Anubandha Chatushtaya is what Bhashyakara is emphasizing and showing that, because here Omkara is what is used to show what is everything, and that becomes an Abhidana for the Abhideya, which is Brahma. Now it is a revealing text, correct? So he has to show what is the Abhidana Abhideya Sambandha, how does it reveal. So that is where the Anubandha Chatushtaya comes into picture. Why do you have to understand this? It is not to just understand that Om is a name given to everything created out of Om. Om is like, see, it is like one more sound, one more object we shouldn't take. Okay. So only when you understand what is the context, what is happening here, then only you can understand why that statement is. Otherwise, you will fall into the trap of misunderstanding and misrepresentation, which most of the books today will be doing. If you go and read those books, all mysticism, the same Mandukya, you will find different ways of interpreting. People, even Bhashya, they don't understand. They just create some mystic interpretations out of it, which is of no benefit. If we want to have some religious clinging and some superiority complex to say, hey, our ancient people have found out Big Bang theory before all the Western studies have done, or something like that, you can do it. But I don't think it's of any use. Some false pride is what you will get. And so that is what happens with all these mystic interpretations. But here we will look at what is the Shastrik Drishti, and that is what will give moksha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.